Hello everyone, OCDsaster here, and I wanted to continue talking about the upcoming Sonic X Shadow Generations game. This game is releasing in October, so we still have a little whiles away, but they released some footage of the Shadow gameplay. Now, this was a few days ago, almost a week ago, that they did this at the Summer Game Fest along with a trailer. I already covered the trailer analysis in the previous video, but I did not know that they released the whole thing of gameplay on top of that, along with letting a bunch of people test out a demo version of the game. I'm not going to be using their footage because that is their content and I don't feel comfortable just taking it and then making content on top of that. But they do show off a little bit more than what this preview is showing, such as the hood and some more boost mechanics than just what we saw right there. You can boost a lot more than they do right there. So Shadow does feel a little bit slow, or look a little bit slow rather, but that is because they were very seldom to use the boost. Whereas when you look at the YouTubers and other people playing the demo, they boost a lot more liberally. So we're actually going to take this back real quick. I wanted to correct myself. In the last video I said this was a remake. It's not. They're just upscaling and making the old Sonic Generations look a lot more pretty, which I think is good because that doesn't mean they're doing a full port, which means there's probably less technical issues that are going to happen. But we're going to go ahead and talk about the Space Colony arc stage for Shadow. As you saw right there, instead of homing attack, he did chaos control, where he kind of just blitzed over and hit those enemies. It's a very cool animation. It's got that blue teleportation that he does in a lot of the cutscenes for Shadow the Hedgehog, actually. This stage looks absolutely beautiful. It looks like there's a lot of different areas and pathways you can take, so that's very good to see. It obviously points you out in one simple direction, but it looks like the game design is very, very well made. It's back to the Generations. He does boost it right there, so his boost does look like that. It works similar to Sonic, where you do get to actually hit the enemies with the boost, unlike in Sonic Frontiers. And here we go into Chaos Control, which is where time gets slowed down. And I don't really know how I feel about this because it's green. I know you have to have different colors to distinguish what button inputs you're doing, but like right here it's green when he does Chaos Control, whereas it's normally blue from all previous games. But then he does the teleportation in blue. I don't know, it's just something that it's a little bit interesting to me. They could have done like maybe a darker shade of blue, lighter shade of blue, but that's just a little nitpick. The design of the stage is incredible. It looks so pretty. It has all the fine details in it. I really like it. I really like this part right here. As Shadow is going down, you are noticing that you are literally in the Space Colony arc now. You have the artificial chaos as enemies. You have those doors, the classic Sonic Adventure 2. I'm not quite sure if this is his homing attack or if that's a separate attack. Can someone in the comments let me know? I've seen him do the homing attack in footage, but most of the time the person that's previewing this is having him teleport. Regardless, it is lagged, it is delayed, and I know a few people are upset about that. We want that quick speed and snappiness, but it seems like they're keeping it at a lagged speed at this time. Now we're tripping into this like illusion state where we're going to be going to Radical Highway with Doom's Eye. So Doom's Eye definitely has something to do with all of this, and he's probably going to be the final boss. It's very cool that they're bringing him back, that he's canon. I know they say every Sonic game's canon, which makes things kind of confusing and problematic at times, but I do appreciate that. I think he's a very cool antagonist. Now, I don't know if we're just not going to be getting the Radical Highway level. We're just going to be getting like this trippy section into perhaps a Doom's Eye boss fight, because this level is also from Sonic Adventure 2, and I don't know if they're going to keep it in the same Sonic Generation spirit, where you get a level per big title game that released over the years. So it seems like they're going to be a little bit stylistic with this. This is where we saw in the trailer Shadow got wings later on, so we might get these trippy sections at the end of each level to kind of highlight other Shadow games, even though they couldn't fully put a level in. We know it's not going to be a long version of Shadow's story. They already made that very known, that this is an addition to the Sonic Generation story, but it's not going to be a whole full-fledged game right afterwards. Gotta love the sparkling there with Shadow. He has this thing called Chaos Sphere. We'll see it later. Doom is defeated, and then we get this transition to the boss fight with the prototype Ultimate Life Form from Sonic Adventure 2. This is all still Sonic Adventure 2. So I'm not quite sure how the shadow levels are going to break down. I would speculate that you start off with the level that is just the vanilla like level from the game. Obviously they generationized it. They made it better, or not necessarily better, but look visually better, and they stylize it to Generations formula. So we got Arc. But then maybe at the end of Arc, you go into a Dream segment, which has a little bit more of that game's level with Doom's Eye. Then you do a quick little mini boss fight with Doom's Eye and go right into a boss of that game, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. But this is the boss for Sonic Adventure 2, so we're still in that era of Shadow, which is the beginning era for him. So I'm really not quite sure how they're breaking that up. They did change this boss fight up a lot. It looks like it's going to be quite lengthy. Not sure how I feel about that, but at least the phases look very, engaging, very stylized. The detail on the prototype is crazy to see because he was definitely not this detailed back when Sonic Adventure 2 first came out. He's jumping up. See, there's different waves, different forms he's taking. We're using chaos control. Everything is going green. I'm saying we like we're doing this, but we're really just watching. And then they skip over, but now we have Chaos Sphere and we're just shooting up in the air. I don't know if it's like certain segments you do this, or if this is just a moveset you can use at any time with Shadow, which is not really viable when you're running down the track. So yeah, there's still a lot of questions we need answered, and I want to know your guys' opinion on how excited are you for this game? What do you think of the footage being shown, the trailers, the stuff that people have been saying? I am cautiously optimistic. I really want this to be a good game, but I'm not holding my breath. I just want to make sure that we get enough Shadow content to make it worth getting a redone game, basically.